Welcome back, everybody, to Snow League here in beautiful Aspen, Colorado. Well, we are just rounding out the qualifying heats, and now in heat number 4 for the women. And there's some big names. We've seen some fantastic riding already. 3 spots have been guaranteed into the quarterfinals, and now we have one more heat. And one more rider will earn their spot into the quarterfinals tomorrow, and then 2 more will go to the last chance qualifiers that will happen later on today. Our first rider to drop in this 4 heat, Leilani Ettel, 23 years old, out of Germany. But we also have our resident judge, Connor Manning. And Connor, what can you tell us about what you've seen from the judging so far?
Yeah, Tina, like I was talking about before with the riders, they're really, really rewarding the amplitude and the execution. And I think I heard you guys talking about with with Mitsuki Ono's run in there. On her first hit, she really wanted to go for that 9. She wasn't trying to switch it up intentionally, missed the grab on that 720, and for them, that lowered the execution. I don't know if I agree with how low the score was. I think it should have been closer to her first score, but that's where they had it.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much for that, because both T-Bird and I were sitting here like, what? That score seems really low.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It seems really low. But she pulled it off. I have to say, to us also, it looked like she just purposely did that 900 midway through the pipe instead of that first hit.
Yep.
All right. Leilani Ettel, a rider coming to us from Germany, 23 years old. She's an Olympian. I spoke to her earlier. She is a huge surf fan. She's a surfer herself. And when we talked about the format of Snow League, I think she was the most excited out of everyone that I talked to, because she's so familiar with how good this format is.
So Leilani Ettel, switch method to start things off. Into the cab 720.
Back around
and the front side 540. So back-to-back 5s there. She's maxing this pipe out. She's getting a lot of hits, ending her run with a front side 720. She made her Olympic debut in Beijing, finishing in 11th place, and now she is here in Aspen at the first stop of Snow League in Season 1. So there's that switch front side 720. Kind of reaching for that grab, just tapping it. Those are the things the judges are kind of deliberating about as we're waiting for those scores to come in. There's the front side 720. That was on her 5th hit as we are underway in Heat 4 of women's qualifiers.
Awaiting that score.
So she's waiting for her score. Coming in, it's a 43.5 on that run 1. She'll get one more run to improve upon that. Again, we are in the 4th heat of qualifying for the women's competition. After this, we will move on to the men's competition with some very big names. We've got Ayumu Hirano,
Lucas Foster,
Lucas Chase Blackwell.
Yeah, it's gonna get heated.
It's gonna be fun. Yeah, all right, well, getting through the women here. Felicity Geremia, out of Canada, 17 years old, a goofy foot rider.
Yeah, our only goofy foot rider in this heat. Everyone else is regular footed. So she's gonna be dropping into her front side wall and taking the same approach as Leilani. So a switch air to fakie there. I guess it would be a switch air to regular. And then a method into a front side 540. So back-to-back 540s from Felicity Geremia. And she's gonna call it a run right here and see where the judges place her right now. Leilani Ettel sitting on a 43.5 in first place. Where will that one come in for the Canadian? So switching it up, drop it in switch here. Pop-Tart off the heels. That is a stylish trick right there. Good amplitude, and it looks like she got a little hung up on that front side 540. You see all that snow flying off the toe edge of her board, and then that made her miss her grab. So one tiny bobble like that can kind of throw their mental state, their whole idea of what the run looks like, into ruin. So a 34.75 for Felicity Geremia. She will bump into second place behind Leilani Ettel.
Go back to the top. Sena Tomita, 25 years old, out of Japan, a regular stance rider. Now she is coming in here with a lot of confidence after winning a World Cup.
Big frontside 900 into the backside of 540. And there she goes, frontside 720. So she's gonna combo those back-to-back 720s. What's she got on her final hit? Front 5, and she's gonna sneak one more in with a method. So getting a lot out of that half pipe right there. Sena Tomita. Very good run.
There's a certain style with the Japanese riders. They, again, going back to Mitsuki Ono, Sena Tomita, the way they land on the half pipe, the way they go from wall to wall along the flat bottom and make those frontside 900s just look so easy and so smooth.
On that graphic there, you see the green plus sign next to the amplitude. So it's 9 feet 6 inches out of the pipe. The green plus sign means it was executed well. That's the execution icon. So you can kind of keep track of what the judges' thought processes are trick by trick on these replays.
Yeah, and it's great because in the past, so many athletes have just looked at their runs and like, oh, well, why did I get that score? Why did I get that score? But we now actually have more of a breakdown.
Exactly. So there you see the run summary. I think this is going to be a pretty high score. I'm seeing a lot of green.
Yeah, and even something like a 540, because the execution was done so well, it gets that higher score and that green mark. So, Sena Tomita, a fantastic score with her first run, 88.2. And she'll move into the top spot here in the fourth qualifying heat. Mattie Shaffric, American, out of Steamboat Springs, Colorado, a former competitor, took a break, became a plumber, then became a coach, and at one point recently just decided, you know what, I can do this, I can keep doing this, and came back, absolutely has the talent, and told me, you know what, I want to do it differently this time. I want to react different now.
Absolutely.
I'm a smarter competitor now.
And let's see what she's got. Big old frontside air. I love a frontside wall stalefish grab into the backside 540. And then into the inverted front 7 and alley-oop. She got a little sideways there in the air. Something went wrong on the takeoff. We'll check that out in the replay. But you can see it in Maddie's riding, right? Sometimes it takes stepping away to make you realize kind of what you didn't prioritize in that first run and reshape your mental mindset and then come back to it with just a clear conscience, right?
Oh, a little crazy in there. Yeah, Nicole!
Look at that, 7 hits. And you can see just her smile, and you were talking about her mental state and her mental attitude, and it's made a huge difference for her this year. Another aspect of Mattie Shaffric I want to point out is her riding. She does alley-oops, tricks that a lot of other riders don't necessarily do. Judges do like to see that variety.
Well, and for so long it was just progression-based, like one after the other, who can spin the most. And half-pipe snowboarding, you know, it progressed at such a fast rate that at a certain point they said, hey, let's go back and kind of revisit some of these originals, right? And you can mix them in with a highly technical run.
Absolutely, and then add those styles to it, making that grab, holding that grab a little bit longer. And that's so, just kind of goes back to that original snowboarding style and technique.
It's a bit of a tip of the cap.
Exactly. So a 60.2 for Mattie Shaffric slots her into second position. there were obviously spots in that run that she could clean up and improve on.
I think she can take that 60.25 and turn it into an 80.25 with just some small execution details.
Absolutely, absolutely. So right now it's Sena Tomita with the lead, Mattie Shaffric 60.25, and they each get one more run. So we're going to go back to the top, do it all over again here for qualifiers run number 2, and we're going to start with Germany's Leilani Ettel. 23 years old, competed at the Beijing Olympics.
Yeah, she's got one career top 5 finish in World Cup competition. That was 5th place at the 2021 World Cup in LAAX, Switzerland, which is the final stop of this Snow League tour next March. So Leilani just kind of getting ready, getting set. Probably got some music going. Currently in 3rd place, which is an okay spot to be, but she's really going to want to up her first run score of 43.5. There's that switch method into the cab 720.
And I'm going to ask you this. Looking at the pipe, the light, it's not ideal.
Exactly. Yep. When we first got here today, there was not a cloud in the sky. That cold open this morning, it was bluebird, it was warm, it was beautiful. We have had some clouds roll in, which can turn the light, as we call it, a little bit flat, right? Which means it takes away the contrast of the walls of the half pipe. It can kind of, you know, just flatten out the entire landscape in front of you.
Yeah.
It creates some problems.
Yeah, you don't have the depth perception that you need to see exactly where to land on the wall to keep that speed and carry it along and get those shoulders around, especially on those spins. Okay, Felicity Geremia out of Canada, 17 years old, a goofy foot rider. She now is sitting on a score of a 34.7. So at this point, she is even out of last chance qualifiers. So she does need to improve on that to even get up to a 3rd place position if she wants to compete later on today.
And you know, she just watched Leilani on her 2nd run, unable to put it down. So right now for Felicity, the door is left open.
Yeah.
All right, so Felicity Geremia dropping in, 17 years old, coming out of Canada, taking a similar approach to Leilani. There's that Pop-Tart that she did on the first hit of her first run into the method. That's a really cool combo. Frontside 540. And right now, if you're Felicity, just stay on the feet, put a run down. You're sitting on a 34.75. There's the frontside 720, and she's like, you know what? I'm good. I want to see what this score is. If she gets up into that 2nd or 3rd place spot, she will qualify for the last chance qualifier. So her experience here at Snow League will remain alive.
All right, so she does get 5 hits in the half pipe, starting out with that Pop-Tart.
Right after the Pop-Tart, she busted a method, holding on to that grab, landing high on the wall, into the front side 7 toward the bottom of the pipe. And then she's kind of riding out on her heels. She's like, you know what? I'm good. Let's see what this gets me.
She's like, I'm out of here. And she does it. She gets the job done. That pushes her into the 3rd place spot with a 48.7 and knocks Leilani Ettel down to 4th. So with one more competitor to go, it's Mattie Shaffric. So Maddy at this point, she's sitting on a 60.2. She is going... Sorry, we still have Sena Tomita, so I'm going to go back to Sena Tomita.
We got Sena Tomita, but you're not wrong, because Sena Tomita and Mattie Shaffric
are, so Sena Tomita right now is in that top spot.
Exactly. She is currently qualified for tomorrow. However, Mattie Shaffric, who drops next, can mix that up. But right now, Sena Tomita looking to build on that first run score of 88.25 with a front side 900 into a backside 5. Look at that height meter, 10 feet out. There's the front side 7 into the cab 720. Holding that amplitude throughout the pipe. Front 5 and a method. She's got to be feeling really good right now.
That was a fantastic run. Now, so Sena Tomita, an 88.2 for that qualifying heat number 4. She's sitting in that top spot. But really, another thing to look out for her is the seeding for the quarterfinals.
Exactly. She would currently be, if it ended as is right now, the number 2 seed behind Maddie Mastro. Oh, I'm sorry, she would be the 3 seed. Okay, so things are about to get interesting as this score comes in. So she does have a lot to gain on building on that first run score of 88.25. It's in the judges' hands now.
That was a really good run. It just had everything.
Super clean.
Yeah, just checked all the boxes. And she does not improve. She'll hold on to that first run score of an 88.2. So right now, she is the number 3 seed in the quarterfinals. Maddie Mastro still holds that number 1 seed spot with a score of 90.
Wow.
But the question at this point, Mattie Shaffric, she has a 60.2. She had some problems. It was a good run, but there is room to improve.
100%. She can clean it up hit by hit, little by little, and I think she can put a run down in the 80s. Let's see what Mattie Shaffric has in store for the last run of women's heat 4. Frontside air into a backside 5. There's the crippler nose grab. You do not see that grab very often with the crippler into alley-oop and the switch back 5. So working on that technicality into the hawk and flip. And she's gonna get one more hit alley-oop. What?
And that was a great run from Mattie Shaffric.
You can tell Danny Cass is hyped right now.
He made her laugh. What did Danny Cass tell her? I just want to know what Danny Cass tells his riders before they drop in. So Mattie Shaffric, 7 hits, and the thing that sets her apart is, again, the alley-oops and the combinations of those alley-oops to like the switch backside 540.
Yeah, that was a very technical run. Amplitude was there. You're seeing the graphics down there for the execution. I love that crippler nose grab. That is such a cool trick.
Yeah.
And you can just kind of tell. I mean, we've called Maddie's runs in the past. She seems relaxed. She seems at ease. She's having fun with it.
Enjoying it so much more. She had the opportunity to come back and compete. She's like, you know what? I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity. I'm going to do it, and I want to do it a different way. I want to do it a better way. So her score comes in an 84.2, a big improvement. Slots herself into that second spot, and we will see Mattie Shaffric later on today in the last chance qualifier. But right now, we're gonna head down to the bottom of the pipe. In a minute, with Sena Tomita is the top spot after this qualifying heat number 4, 88.25. Mattie Shaffric in the second, 84.25, and Felicity Geremia, we will see them in the last chance qualifiers, but Sena Tomita has guaranteed her spot in the qualifiers, and she's down at the bottom of the pipe with Naoko.
Hey, congratulations to Sena Tomita for making it to the next round. We're going to do this interview in Japanese, get her thoughts on her run. 予選通過おめでとうございます。今日のランについて、一言お願いします。
はい、難しいコンディションの中だったんですけど、しっかりメイクして、トーナメントを進めたのでよかったです。
So it was really difficult conditions, but she was able to make the best of it and move on to the to tomorrow's bracket challenge. So thank you very much. Congratulations. 頑張ってください。どうも。
Well, she overcame the difficult conditions, and she will be guaranteed a spot in the quarterfinals. We'll take a quick break from Snow League and be right back.